Yes, slow progress. All right, we're ready for Coach Kerr. A little earlier than anticipated today, but go ahead and start. Name and affiliation, please.
Hi, Steve. Just to start it generally, how was practice today?
Practice was good, very light. It was a shoot-around format for Toronto tomorrow, and then we got a little bit of execution work in as well.
What are you discovering about the ways your players learn? Like some learners are visual learners. Maybe all they need is film. Some have to do it. They have to, be on the floor and do the thing. Some, if you just tell them, they're like, yep, I got it. So how do you figure out all of these learning styles and simplify things?
It's a good question. Ron Adams made a point a couple of weeks ago. He said, we have a lot of moving parts in terms of where guys are in their respective careers. We've got two guys in Steph and Draymond who could do everything we do in practice in their sleep. And we got, James, who's played 12 total basketball games since his last high school game, who doesn't know which way is up and is trying to learn a million things at once. And then you got a couple guys in Kelly and Andrew who are relatively new. I mean, Kelly's brand new. Andrew's still relatively new to kind of our style, and so to blend all those things together has not been easy, but it's coming around, and the learning process for each guy is different, and we have to account for that as coaches. So, I've talked to Steph and Draymond about having to go through some of the stuff that they already know, but it's really important for them to be engaged in order to help the newer guys. And so while there are a lot of new moving parts, that's just one of the dynamics to this team. And every coach faces his own unique set of circumstances, and I think that's what makes this year's team unique to coach.
What did you see in the two Wiseman games against the Clippers and kind of his struggles in first field test against that type of team?
Well, I think it was a really good experience from the first night. He was really good about differentiating between calling out coverages, and that's one of the keys as a center. You have to constantly be calling out the scheme, weak or strong, ice or flat. I mean, we have all this terminology, and he's really starting to pick that up well. And so I'm excited in that regard. And then, there were times during the two games where it was very obvious that he was frustrated, but it wasn't really a surprise because of who the Clippers are, what kind of team they are, how much talent they have, and the diversity of actions that you have to cover defensively. For example, we guard Paul George differently from the way we guard Kawhi Leonard. And then when Lou Williams comes into the game, it's a totally different look. And so for James and all the really young players in this league to go through that whole process of all the coverages, all the scouting reports, knowing tendencies, knowing personnel, it's a lot. And I think it was these two games were really good for James to sort through all that.
Steve, kind of piggybacking on that learning curve topic, how helpful is it to have two voices as different, I guess, as Steph and Draymond? I think some players have kind of said it's sort of like having fire and ice.
Yeah.
In that locker room, yeah.
Yeah, when Steph pulls a player aside, it's he sort of whispers and he only tells that player. When Draymond pulls a player aside, he's addressing the whole team. So it's a different style. And sometimes I'll ask Steph to speak up because I think everybody needs to learn what he's saying. But at the same time, it's kind of a nice touch for that player to just hear quiet words from someone. So I really like the combination of Steph and Draymond as leaders of this team.
In your experience as a player and coach, I mean, is it how important is it to have so many of those kinds of voices, given that, everybody, I suppose, is coached differently, learns differently?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing on a staff. I don't want to be the voice that's dominant every single day because players are going to get tired of my voice. And so I like to have my staff addressing the team quite often just so they hear different voices and get different perspectives. And so it's good to be able to sort of mix things up, both staff-wise and internal player leadership-wise.
How about having Ron Adams around too? Because you've mentioned a few times when you talk to us, Ron Adams noticed this or Ron said that. Like you can hear how much he brings to the team. For us, maybe just from my perspective, it seems like year by year he gets a little less visible to us publicly, but it seems like he still has a very important place in what you guys are trying to do.
And I think Ron is probably more important for me this year than ever. His first few years here, I mean, he was in charge of the defense and did an amazing job, and it really worked out perfectly. Ron was the right guy at the right time for me. And, now that Ron is more in a consultant's role, this is a different coaching season for me. And so I'm really leaning on him, and he's bringing a lot of great advice to me behind the scenes about coaching. So in the first few years, it was more, hey, we should guard this guy that way, and we should play this style or this coverage. Now it's more, hey, with this kind of a team, maybe think about addressing things this way. So he's really been a great resource for me this year as I navigate, how to coach this team itself.
Do you expect it available tomorrow night?
I'm sorry, Anthony.
Do you expect everybody available tomorrow night?
I think so. Andrew sat out practice today, and so he'll be, game time or whatever. We'll check in with him tomorrow, and I would say he's probable, but there's a chance he might not play.
Hi, Steve. Janie McCauley from AP.
Hi, Janie.
Steve, along the lines of what Kerr asked kind of at the beginning, how do you balance how much time to practice? Today was a shoot around. You guys have had a lot of games and, in this homestand, and you do have so many different moving parts, as you mentioned. How do you sort of weigh today to do a light workout and shoot around style? I know you have a quick turnaround till tomorrow's 5:30 game.
Yeah, I mean, I think coaching in the NBA is very much about pacing your team. You can't burn them out, but you also have to make sure you're learning and growing. And that's what this season is going to be about for me and my staff. We've got to find that balance. I have a pretty good feel for how players are feeling day to day because I played for 15 years and I understand the rhythm and the flow of an NBA season. There are some days where you just got to, even when you need to work on stuff, they just need to stay out of the gym to refresh their minds. And I have a pretty good feel for that. And I think if I'm wrong on it, my staff will tell me. There's been plenty of times over the years where I've said, hey, I think we should practice tomorrow. And a couple guys on my staff, they go, no, we got to get out of the gym. Everybody's fried. So collaboratively, we figure out as a staff when to practice, when not to, and how much work to put in. And with this group, it's really about there's so much learning to be done that we need the work, but we've got to do it in a manner that provides players the rest too.
Would you have decided last night how today would go, or did you get there before today's practice and talk to the staff and say, okay, this is our game plan?
Yeah, it's really a combination, Janie. When you look at the schedule before the season even starts, you can almost pick out days that you're going to take off. In this particular case, knowing we have a 5:30 game tomorrow, we're not going to have a shoot around. Let's turn the day before into the shoot around day, and then let's add A, B, and C to a light practice and go from there.
Thank you. Makes sense.
How have you seen Kelly Oubre approach things mentally? And has he asked for any extra film study or extra time to shoot just to help him acclimate to things?
I think that the biggest thing with Kelly is that he's a competitor. You can see his emotion on the court. You see how badly he wants to do well and to win. And his defense has been great for us. You know, we need him badly. We need Andrew badly, and it's such a relief for me, you know, as a coach after last year of not having the horses to deal with, you know, the Paul Georges and Kawhi Leonards of the world. What a relief to go into a game knowing I've got Kelly and Andrew to defend on the wings. And what I love about both guys is they've embraced the challenge of guarding the best guys and doing the job. Obviously the slow start for Kelly is more just about a lack of flow with our starting group, and that's something we're trying to address. It's always tough to go to a new team and find your role, find your rhythm, and I think that's what's happened with Kelly. He's handled it beautifully. Brings a positive approach and a smile to practice every day, but I know this is eating him up inside because he's a competitor. So we're just trying to help him relax and understand it's a long, long season, and you know, things will smooth out.
Is there anything you can share with us about how you're trying to create that flow with the first unit?
I won't share any details, but I think the context is important. I think just, you know, recognizing, going back to the topic we were talking about in the beginning of this session, you know, the moving parts. You know, it's hard to find a rhythm with that group because there are a lot of moving parts. But you know, I'm really committed to it because of the potential defensively. You know, if we want to be a great defensive team, that's the lineup that makes the most sense. And if we can start every game with a really good defensive stand, you know, through the first part of the first quarter, then it sets a good tone for the rest of the game. So I'd rather commit to our defense right now and sort out our offense. But I won't go into detail about the things we're working on.
We can see Leandro Barbosa warming up guys pre-game, and Leandro looks like he's still got it if he wanted to play again. What has it been like having him around?
You know, when I was early in my career, maybe my second or third year, I was playing for Cleveland, and Mike Dunleavy Sr. was an assistant coach for the Bucks, and they suffered a rash of injuries, and he signed a couple of 10-day contracts, and so he went from the sidelines to the court. I'm guessing he was about 38. This would have been around 1990, and he played for, you know, on 2 10-day deals, and then their guys got healthy, and then he went back to the bench. LB could do that in a heartbeat, and I'm not even kidding. Like, he can still play. You know, the course of the season might wear him down, but you know, if we needed him and we had to sign him to a 10-day, he could go right now and help us win a game. Guy's in amazing shape.
How about for who he is, like his personality, having him around, but also like there's just a smiley, bubbly guy, but also having his wisdom as well?
He's just he's a joy to be around. He was a crucial part of our chemistry on the teams that he played for, you know, 4 or 5 years ago. And he's bringing the exact same thing as a coach. Everybody loves being around LB, coaches, players, management. What a breath of fresh air and a great addition to our coaching staff.
Steve, would you actually consider that if you needed him? I mean, if you had that situation, would you do it?
Sure. We've actually talked about it. It's, you know, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but you know, if it came to it, knock on wood, let's hope it doesn't. But if it came to it, it's something we would consider.
Any other people on your staff you would consider?
Hell no.
Thank you.
All right.
How do you feel about officially having Jeremy Lin in the G League team?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, Jeremy, obviously being from here, has a great love for the Bay Area and vice versa. And I just like that he still wants to play basketball. It's hard to retire, and it's hard to not have a place to play. You get older, and you're forced to come to this crossroads where you have to make a decision with your life, and I think guys should play as long as they can, and if that's what they love to do, they should do it. And so I love that Jeremy's going to play, and obviously we'll keep an eye on him. Since he'll be part of our Santa Cruz team, and hopefully for Jeremy, he's still got something left in the tank, and he's got some time left in his career. But I love the passion for the game and the willingness to swallow your pride and go play in the G League. That's how much he loves it. I think that's cool.
Will the G League bubble be a good opportunity for these guys, and will Juan and Nico be a part of that? Like, if they need to get called back, how does that work?
Yeah. Well, it would be absolutely something we'd like them to do, particularly Nico. Juan now, I think, has enough of a background and a foundation to his game where, I wouldn't feel like we have to send him down. With Nico, he needs to play, and I'm a huge fan. I think he's going to be really good. But it's hard to develop in the NBA when you're not playing. You're basically relegated to playing, 3-on-3, 4-on-4 on off days, that sort of thing. But there's no experience like game experience. So I hope that does happen. We'll see. Draymond's here. I'm out.
Okay.
All right.